I only see 3 people plus me.
No, Eddie, me, Lelania, you, and Larry. That's 5.
Oh, okay. And now we have a guest, Kevin Ross.
Looks like we have 2 guests.
Ah, good.
Yeah. There we go. All right.
Well, Eddie, you'll watch for anybody that needs to be added.
Yes, I will do that, and I'm observing the Facebook. So if anybody asks a question on Facebook, I will inform you. I will
Okay.
inform the group.
All right.
Oh,
Thank
wow,
you.
you're going to be able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The meeting of the Humboldt County Human Rights Commission. It is 5 o'clock, and we'll call the roll. Lelania?
Here.
Jim, I'm here. Bird?
Here.
Larry?
Here.
Okay. And at the moment, that is everybody that's here. So, of course, hang on one second.
All right.
Eddie?
Yes.
Erin is on the phone, and she's saying she's being required to put a password in.
Fair enough.
The meeting password, maybe?
Yeah, don't say it online. Don't say it
I
on the
won't.
air. Tell Erin that I will send it to her. Did she look at her invitation, at her email? Everything should be there.
Okay,
I'm on the, everything was just in the minutes, right? Or is there
No.
another one?
no, he sent out a reminder this
Yeah,
afternoon,
if you look at the reminder, everything is there.
and there should be a password there. Eddie?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he
there
says
is.
yes.
I'm looking at it.
Okay, oh, there it is. Okay, great. Okay, I'll try this one. Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
you bet.
Often doesn't work. I'm trying anyway. Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Well, we're still learning the ropes here. She should be joining us in just a second. So we'll wait until she is with us.
Eddie, while we're waiting,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't see anything on my screen that lets me mute or unmute myself or put my
So
picture.
you want to hover at the bottom of your screen. Just hover
Yep.
with your mouse, and you'll see something pops up.
Nope. I've been doing that, and it doesn't pop up.
Nothing. Oh, okay. So you can't mute yourself? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, now I found the mute. It's in black and it hardly shows. Okay, I can mute myself,
Okay.
but I can't find my video.
Yeah. So
So
if
you're
I
not
hope-
going to see me tonight.
okay, that's not a problem. And if we have any guests, usually I mute the guest if they put their hand up, or preferably put a comment on our Facebook. I will open it up for them immediately as directed by the chair. So I see Kevin Ross. Sir, can you see me? So if you put your hand up when you want to speak, I understand you have some questions. I'll open you up. And then
Eddie, just a reminder, Erin is in the waiting room.
yeah, now she is. Okay, she's in.
There we go.
There we go.
Hello.
For our visitors tonight, just mention before we get started, there is a point at which we have unscheduled or non-agenda public comment, and each person is allowed 3 minutes to speak. If it is something that shows up later in the agenda, you might also have a chance to speak at that point as well. So we just called the roll, and now Aaron has joined us and Mary Ann has joined us. So we'll call you folks present. Okay. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the last meeting. If you had a chance to take a look at them, great. If you have any comments, or if there's a motion to approve, we can go ahead and consider that.
I wouldn't want to ruin my reputation.
I was waiting for you, Bert.
The only thing is, and we mentioned this last time, the Roman numerals are missing one, and so everything past at the treasurer's report and past is needs to be renumbered, and it's the same in the agenda. So the agenda needs to be renumbered because I think you're just using the agenda to make it. So,
and I probably have made the same mistake with tonight's agenda.
yeah, that's
as well.
that's why I think it's
It's continuing on. Yeah, I'll get it fixed.
And it's just a fiddly little thing, I know, but really, you have to hear from me.
We wouldn't know what to do if we didn't.
I move the adoption of the minutes as corrected.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it, Larry.
Larry seconds it. Okay, we are recording the meeting this evening since we don't have a secretary on duty tonight, just so that everybody knows that. Is there any other discussion on the minutes? All those in favor of approving the minutes as amended, please indicate by raising your hand.
Or saying aye.
Aye.
Or saying, yeah, in your case, aye, yes.
Aye.
Is everybody,
I'll
Okay.
take notes as well for the meeting, Jim.
well, if you don't mind, that would be terrific. Thank you
I
very much.
don't mind.
Okay, all right, it has, is there any negative?
I was on mute.
Okay. And abstentions? It's unanimous. Okay. Thank you. Is there a request for any adjustments to the agenda? Anything that needs to be put in a different order than we presently have it? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to public comments. We have two guests with us. I see Kevin Ross. I don't know how to pronounce your name, ma'am. Is it Gia?
That's just it. My first name is Jody and my last name is Himango.
Oh, okay. Their initials. All right. I understand that Kevin wished to make a public comment. Would you like also
Yeah,
to?
give me a second. I'm having an issue with unmuting the gentleman here.
Okay, while we're at it, Jody, how do you spell your name? Is it Jody or DI?
DY.
Thank you.
Okay. Jody, did you wish to make a comment as well?
Kevin,
No,
Kevin
I'm
Ross,
just here to see what you guys are all about.
Okay,
Oh,
that's fine. All right, well, we'll start with Kevin. Kevin, welcome to our meeting. You can have 3 minutes to speak to any non-agenda item. And as I said earlier, if there's something later in the agenda where you might also want to speak, you could at that point as well. So welcome and go ahead with your comment.
Well, thank you all for having me today. And like you said, my name is Kevin Ross. I'm here as a concerned citizen of Humboldt County and an organizer for Black Humboldt.
Yes.
And so we are a group whose mission is to enlighten, empower, and entertain our Black community through events made for us and by us. And so generally we don't take many political stances. We just provide and hold space for the Black community in Humboldt County. And the reason that I've decided to attend this meeting today is a particular concern with, as it's going on nationwide, racism, as well as just locally racism in Humboldt County, particularly, which essentially created the need for a group like Black Humboldt, because it's an everyday experience. And I think that given the uprisings and different things that are arising as far as policing and police brutality and things like that, I think it should be the Human Rights Commission in Humboldt County should support and even declare some of those issues as well, because there's other counties that have declared a human rights issue or a public health issue, declare racism a public health issue. And I mean, it's basically, pretty regularly, you're looking at the newspaper and you're hearing stories of racism, whether it's graffiti, whether it's people wearing white supremacist attire while they're doing business, whether it's botched investigations on behalf of law enforcement. And more recently, there's been the use of non-lethal weapons against protesters. And so I think that the Human Rights Commission should support some of these police reform initiatives that have data that supports that change. And so I think if this becomes an agenda item, we can I definitely want to look into what particular initiatives are out there and what data-based research has told us about different policing practices, both here and worldwide.
Kevin, first of all, I don't know how are we gonna do raising hands with the mechanical hand raiser? How are we gonna?
For starters, let's remember that public comment does not involve a lot of discussion with the guest at this point. If they wish to have an agenda item, which Kevin is indicating he does, we can set that for the next meeting. If you wish to get the attention of the chair, please raise your hand.
Perfect.
Lelania?
Could we invite Kevin and ask Kevin to stay on throughout the meeting, because we do have an agenda item that I would like to have the opportunity to communicate with him on.
Okay, well, I already extended that invitation to Kevin, and he is welcome to stay. At the end of any discussion that the commissioners have, there's an additional 3-minute option for any guest to speak.
Thank you.
Marianne?
I too would like to have, I would like to move that we have an agenda item next meeting, if we need to have a move to do that.
Well,
So
let's find out.
And I think that I'd like him to be able to introduce us to Black Humboldt. I give out the list. You've got a great list that has all the employers of color and owners of businesses of color here in our community. I've learned a lot. It's a great resource, and I applaud the resource Black Humboldt very much. I've been able to disseminate that while we're trying to educate folks like me who are trying to support what we can do to move forward in our country as a whole. So thanks for being here. I would like to move that we have ask to have an agenda item to have Black Humboldt introduced to us and added to the understanding of the Human Rights Commission.
Can we ask Kevin if he has a specific item that you'd like us to discuss at the next meeting? Hang on, I'm asking Kevin a question.
So basically just, I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm gonna, between now and then, we'll do my research and stuff like that and see what capacity you guys have to support and move forward initiatives, and what initiatives have been on the table for years and other ones that are newly created. Okay,
well, we'll definitely make sure that there is an item next time. And if you want to be in touch with us between now and then to define what that agenda item might look like a little bit better, we'd welcome your input, okay?
Certainly.
Okay, I think Lelania and then Bird.
Yeah, I just wanted to and you already addressed it, Kim. I wanted to let Kevin know to circle back with us so we could help him understand how we could support Black Humboldt. We were talking to their leadership when we started the kindness campaign, and there's a lot of ways that we could do that. I think if they understand how the commission works, then Kevin would be able to come back to us where we could really start taking some more immediate action. But I think we need to bridge that conversation so when they do come back to us, we can actually, we have something we can work with.
Okay, Bird?
We do not need a motion for that. We have an agenda item for our next meeting, and we just put that there right now.
Yeah, it's taken care of, but any input you want to give us between now and then would be welcome, Kevin.
Okay.
And which email?
Oh, and by the way, you didn't even mention Juneteenth. Do you want to take a minute to talk about Juneteenth?
So Juneteenth is a celebration. We're hosting a virtual event, and basically we'll have some workshops, and we'll have some performances. We'll have Black music all day. And so, yeah, it's open to everybody. Last year we had it at Sequoia Park, and unfortunately this year we can't all be in the same space like we would.
Right.
We'd love to, but yeah, we're doing a raffle. So if anybody wants to donate items to raffle off, or yeah, we're still putting it together though. So I mean, but yeah, it's June 16th. And you can find more information at blackhumboldt.com. And everything's updated mostly on Instagram. So look up Black Humboldt on Instagram.
Okay, thank you very much. Jody, did you have? I didn't know if you wanted our attention or not. Okay. All right, thank you again, Kevin. Okay, under Commissioner Communications.
Mr. Chair, do we have another guest that wants to speak?
No, apparently not yet.
Okay.
I've offered it to her. Yep.
All right, fair enough.
She said she was observing.
Okay, got
I
it.
heard that. Thank you. Okay. Under regular mail, the only mail we've received is the bank statement. No calls other than the message line. And are there any announcements from the individual commissioners that they'd like to include at this time? Bird?
I just wanted to say, Eddie, when your email came through to me, it called us the humble. Don't laugh. I think that's a really good thing to say. I feel very humble.
Well, that's true.
With what's going on in our world right now. And I feel humbled because I don't feel as though I'm able to do as much as I would like to do. And I think we all need to think about that. We need to decide what it is that we as individuals and as a group have the ability to do. Maybe it isn't very much, but I think we need to try to do that. And also, Kevin, you probably know about this as well, but the buttons, the square buttons that say Black Lives Matter, Maggie has those, and she's getting more of them. So if anybody wants one, send me an email and I'll order it from her.
Oh, so. Sure, I do.
Okay, send me, everybody who wants one, send me an email and I'll get our order there and we'll get them somehow. So, thank you.
Okay, any other commissioner comments before we move on? Okay.
My puppy survived. That's totally separate.
Totally separate. Okay, thank you. Under the message line, Lelania, you had the first, actually, I had the first part of the month and the second, anyway, I had the first part of the month. We had 3 calls that I logged. Most of them were about the resource cards. I got 2 more calls this week about resource cards. They're wanting them in English and in Spanish at Humboldt State and at the Arcata Police Department. So I'll be delivering those tomorrow. And Lelania, do you have anything to report?
No, the call that I responded to, I was unable, I got in touch with the facility that he was calling for, but I wasn't able to communicate with him.
Okay, did you make the entry on the
I
form?
believe it. Yeah, I
Great.
think, pretty sure.
Thank you.
I
Perfect.
love that thing.
I do too. It's much better. Okay, well there isn't too much to report on message line, but there are 3 dates that we should fill so that we can have activity. Bird?
I'll take July 1st to the 15th.
Okay, that also leaves June 16th through the 30th and July 16th through the 31st.
You know, I'd jump in on either of those. This is Larry, but I still don't have the ability to plug into the new system, so it'd have to be by, the old paper, method. So
Or
I
if
just wanted
you-
to let you know that.
Well,
I can do
we'll take-
16th through
hang
30th.
on, please.
You know,
There must be a.
I'm trying to say something, please.
I don't take notes.
Larry, if you want to pick a date, just communicate with me when you get any calls, and I'll be glad to convert them to the form.
Oh, okay. So which one of those?
Well, the 16th through the 30th, or the 16th through the 31st of July.
Mary was going to jump in there on one. What was the one you were going to jump in on, Mary?
Mary?
She there? Hello?
Yeah, she's here.
she's just muted.
Mary, Larry was asking you if you wanted one of those dates. Is that what you?
I thought it was Mary that
I
jumped
wrote
in.
it in the chat box, so I didn't interrupt.
Well, I'll read the chat box then. June 16th. Okay. All right, Larry. Well, then are you interested in July 16th through the 31st?
Sure.
Okay, we're covered. Thank you very much, everybody. And Mary, we're back to you. We would like your treasurer's report. Thank you.
Our balance right now is $930.38. I'm slowly working with Umpqua Bank through the pandemic COVID shutdown to work on getting us, because we're a business account, it wasn't quite as easy to get it to online banking, but it should be all set up by next meeting.
Terrific. In case any of you don't already know, that we're converting to entirely online banking, so that we have a spreadsheet that we can see at any time on the shared drive. And so it'll be a much more transparent system than we had in the past, but it's also less paper to be watching for. Eddie?
You want to make that public to everybody? The accounting, we can make it so that anybody, no, fair enough.
Yeah, that should be accessed only by commissioners for sure.
All right, not a problem.
Okay. Under standing committee reports, the first standing committee report that we have is on the Human Trafficking Fund. So Lelania?
Okay, so the funds are in the process of being dispersed as we speak. COVID slowed that process down for a minute, only because of communication and execution, but now those funds are being released, and we're in the process of putting together a press release with Humboldt Area Foundation that they'll send out in their mailers, and that we'll send out, or they will send out actually, to all the local press agencies. We had a little bump in regards to one of our programs, but we met last week as a committee and are in the process of resolving that. An ad campaign got put out on a local bus that, according to the way we wrote the grant, we were supposed to have approval, and we really wanted the county logo on there, and we weren't provided either of those things, not by the grant recipients, but by the agency that the ad was contracted to. So we are right now in the process, hoping that we're gonna get a new draft and be able to go through that in the way that we laid it out. So we're waiting back on that, and that's where we're at right now. Any questions?
Well, just to comment, in the meantime, we do have the, I guess you'd call the incorrect ad running, even though essentially the message is the same. It just doesn't give proper credit to the county, which did the funding of the activity.
Correct. It did get posted.
Larry, did you have a question?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Okay, any other questions for Lelania on the Human Trafficking Fund? Okay. Well, now, let's see. Second standing committee report is the Sanctuary Ordinance Committee. And I checked earlier today for any activity at the Board of Supervisors office to see if they have had any complaints or comments or feedback. And again, there was nothing as of this morning. Lelania?
Is that where, like, folks who would want to invoke that know to go?
They don't go there. They mail or email correspond with the Board of Supervisors.
Whose responsibility is outreach on that? Because, you know, I'm just wondering if people even understand, or, you know, because since that all came about, it's just been dead in the water, and maybe we're not getting any conversation because no one understands where to go have the conversation.
Sounds like an excellent idea for the Facebook page.
That's, I think we could have some education, but I also think that the Spanish-speaking community knows, and the leadership there knows, and I'm sure that if there is a problem, they let people know. However, there's never too much education, so it would be good maybe to put it on the Facebook page with something that shows, you know, it's something you click on that says what they, you know, for the ordinance by itself, so people don't have to go through a lot of stuff to find it.
Okay.
It might be something that could be added to the resource page, another button on that page as well. Eddie?
I want to say that, you know, if you go to Costco, you hear a lot of Spanish, but you also hear Bulgarian, and you also hear Ukrainian Russian. So maybe not only, maybe there's some other languages we would like to think, like Hmong or other languages.
Right.
We might want to put that on our webpage. And
Yeah,
I think as long as we keep the message pretty simple, it's not too hard to translate that.
Good.
Would you be able to help with that? You're multilingual.
Yes, and I have people that would be able to do that for me too.
Terrific. Okay.
Good.
Very good.
Great, yeah.
All right. Under ad hoc committee reports, we have 3 reports, potential reports. The first being the kindness campaign and an evaluation of where we stand at the moment.
Okay, well, you know, the kindness campaign started out as the anti-hate and bullying committee, and we transitioned into the kindness campaign in hopes to shift the focus off of hate and start role modeling what we were asking by going against hate and bullying. And so we came up with the hashtag campaign, the hashtag Humboldt Kindness. And we went to the Board of Supervisors, and we went to law enforcement, and we started going out to the local cities, but COVID happened. We emailed, but we didn't actually get to do that on the ground in-person outreach. And so what I did is I created a group online in trying to connect it to our Facebook group. I was not successful in that, and that's something that would be great if we could pull in Eddie's help to connect the human rights Facebook page to the Humboldt Kindness group. Because in the group, it would allow us to gather the communication and information. And the only way this campaign is going to be successful is if everybody really engages and uses the hashtag and starts posting and promoting acts of kindness throughout the county. So we've had a couple meetings. We're not getting the kind of traction within all of us, within the community, that we had hoped. So we would like to see if anyone else on the committee would or on the commission would like to get engaged, and if we can put some more fuel into this campaign, or we can, keep it status quo, but we're really not doing justice to what something so simple can create. And in times like COVID and all this racial tension and crisis we're under, acts of kindness are so important. The kindness campaign is a really good way, like, one of our guests brought up that they're having an event. That's a way, as a commission, we could support that event. I think we should discuss supporting that event regardless, but without having to do another meeting, we could support it through the kindness. We could cross brand, I guess, and say, here's our logo, but we don't have a logo yet. So we can keep building this campaign, but the committee needs a lot more support from all the commissioners, and we need more fire in the committee.
So do you have a plan for when you want to meet again? And, oh, I'm sorry, Eddie, I'll ask that question in a second. Eddie?
I was going to say the same thing. Let's have a brainstorm session and let's come up with some fuel, as you said, and get some other people involved. I'm totally for that. Let's just set a date and do it. Go ahead.
Are you volunteering to add yourself to the committee?
Yes, I am. I think I can do that.
Okay, great.
Okay, just hang on one second. Jody was asking what is the hashtag? It's hashtag Humboldt Kindness. Maybe Lelania could explain it a little further.
Absolutely. So the Humboldt Kindness campaign is a way for us to connect through all the diversity in our community on social media through a hashtag. So every time, what we're encouraging our whole community to do is every time they see an act of kindness or see something that represents kindness, to post it on their social media with the hashtag Humboldt Kindness. There's also a Facebook group called hashtag Humboldt Kindness that they can share that information in and share more things in. And the purpose is that at the end of the year, we would have this really beautiful stream of all this diversity in Humboldt County sharing that same hashtag, from our law enforcement to our politicians and our educators and our organizers and our community members and our cannabis community, and have everyone involved in this hashtag so that we can start showing and role modeling for our community what is needed in all these times of challenge.
Yeah, I wanted to share that's going to be backwards probably to you, but it says, I was kind today. These are stickers that we've put out, and I was going to ask if we have any updated information about that. Bird, weren't you going to work? Oops.
Well, central office has it, and they said they will do it anytime they can make the hashtag a little bigger. They did one for me that showed that. But I was not the one who was given the ability to do any ordering on that. I was asked to find out about buttons which I did,
Oh, that's right.
McLean, and I talked with Denise a couple of times. She wanted to know what we were going to do with them. And I said that probably the biggest thing was that we would want them when we were tabling. And so she asked if we would, before she gave us prices and so forth, if we would wait a few months because she didn't think we would be doing any tabling, which I don't think we will be. And she did not answer about would that be part of the grant? They own the machine and they are pretty protective of it, I guess, because people can ruin it if they don't use it correctly. But I think maybe that's something to put off a little bit, because we're not really going to be in a position to be handing those out, I don't think, for a while.
That's true. Yeah. Anything else, Lillian?
Yeah, since I get the floor at this moment, I want to say thank you to Kevin for coming to this meeting, and what it takes for us to take action is what you've done, is coming and talking to us. We are at service of our community as well as our board, and when you come to us, then we can work with you. And I'd like to offer, I know a lot about digital events, and I think that and Jim will correct me if I'm out of step here, but I would like to offer the support of the Kindness Campaign, because that is the quickest way that we can engage with this event. And through that, I can offer my expertise and help you guys with this digital event. So please reach out to me, and we're gonna have a meeting on Monday, I believe, as soon as we can with this committee. And I see that there's a lot of what we could help support you guys quickly with that particular campaign.
What time is the meeting? I just heard about it.
Jim, we didn't make a time until after we knew we were going to have more committee members. And now that we know we have more committee members, what I'll do tonight is I'll put out, well, we could decide right now, how about Monday at 11?
Yeah, I can do that.
Can Mary and Eddie do that?
Here, give me a second.
I'd be interested in being involved too.
Keep in mind, 4 people is the most we can have.
But this is not a Human Rights Commission, is it? Or are we talking about the Kindness Committee or the?
Yes.
Specifically about the Kindness Committee.
Oh, all right, then no.
Okay. Mary? You're muted.
What time on Monday are we saying?
Yeah.
How about 11 o'clock?
I just threw 11 out there.
I can do 11.
Hold on.
Okay.
It's my last week of teaching, so I don't know what my name is, but give me a second. I really don't.
I thought you said your last week was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, right, I wish. My last day is the 12th. Yeah, 11 a.m. Monday works for me. I'm just looking at my calendar and I'll put it in right now. And then I'm set up for Meet or Zoom. It was just pretty wacky. I'll tell you guys at the meeting. But
So,
the puppy lived. That's all that matters.
Lelena, if you don't mind, let's set it up on our new Zoom, our new Google Hangout with our current email. I'll take care of that.
I won't do it then. Okay, I was just doing it. I'll let you do it.
Yeah, let's do it on
Great.
that. That way we can all be on the same sheet. I'll send the invites to. If you send me the name,
I'm fine with that.
invites to everybody.
Can we invite Kevin to that meeting?
We
Yeah,
can,
why not?
If he wants to come, yeah.
if he thinks it would be.
So,
Kevin, what's your email? That would be helpful.
well, we can email it to Black Humboldt. We have their email.
Okay, great.
So Kevin, what we're trying to do is we have a committee that already was established based on hate and bullying. And because we have to follow, we're under government regulations. So we have to go through certain steps to engage. And because this committee is already formed, it's a way that we can engage, and we're looking for ways to engage. So if you're able, or someone from Black Humboldt is able to attend this meeting on Monday at 11, and we'll get you the link, we could actually plan how to support you guys for that event in that meeting. So if someone from your group could come, it would really help us be able to figure out how to support you quickly, because that event's not far off.
Yeah, totally. So I'd have to bring this information to the rest of the organization, and then we can definitely get back to you hopefully by like midday tomorrow.
That would be fine.
Yeah, sorry, Jim. Yeah, and it's just, if you guys want to have the conversation, you know, that's the quickest time, but you're also going to be on the agenda for next month.
Yeah, so I don't want to take too much of you guys' time, you know.
Okay,
So,
thank you. Hang on, Eddie. Mary was next, and then Eddie.
Kevin, I wanted to kind of give a little background. When we started the Anti-Hate Committee, I was one of the proponents of changing the name because we hear that word so much in our community, but it began out of a sense of racist acts that were happening in our community. So it totally aligns a lot with what Black Humboldt is standing for, because it was the racist hate speech towards Native Americans, racist hate speech that people were experiencing in schools. And we just kind of blended it all together, as kind of Lelania was saying, so that we could address what's happening and address it by, nonviolent kindness instead of getting angry. How can we respond? Although getting angry is good, how can we respond? So it kind of, I think that I personally, having been on the committee since way back, I would value any input that anybody, especially from groups like Black Humboldt, can give, because we're in the middle of a crisis in our country right now. And out of that crisis, I believe that all of our goals that are working together is to find growth and positivity and heal some serious wounds in our culture. So just wanted to say that to really encourage you to be part of it if you could, or somebody.
Okay. Anything else, Lelania? Anybody? Oh, I'm sorry, Eddie.
Listening.
Hang on.
Kevin and Leanne, could I get an email so I can put them on the invite for
So, blackhumboldt@gmail.com.
That's pretty easy. I can handle that.
That was a rough one.
All right, that's all I wanted.
Okay, thank you all.
I have one more thing, Jim. I want to encourage myself, Jim, Eddie, Bird, you're not online, I don't think, but Marianne and anyone else to please start using the hashtag consciously, so we are educating what we want to see.
I think you and I use it more than anyone, Lelaine, to getting more people involved. I know even your kids and your friends and your relatives and people that you work with, just, you know, Humboldt kindness. It's kind of a nice thing to attach when you're on Instagram and you see a pretty day, you see a sunset, you see somebody at the store and you want to write a story about it. What, you know, how do we express kindness? What does that mean to each of us individually? Share it with your relatives for them to use it too that live here locally. Share it with your friends, whoever you work with. That's what I've started doing, my teacher friends, other friends, because I think that one of the best ways to counter hate is with love. So that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. Bird.
I'm not on Facebook. I don't do things on Facebook, but I do use it in my signature and my emails. So, and some people have asked me what it means. So I'm trying to get it out there.
They are
even as a teacher, I'm like, what?
Okay, did I see any other hands up? We've got to move on. There's spent considerably more time on this than I expected. Okay. The next ad hoc committee is cultural awareness. Obviously, the chair of that committee is not here again. So we're going to move this item as a new agenda item next month and start all over again, because the subject is relevant to tonight's discussion. It's also relevant to Indigenous people throughout Humboldt County, as well as other ethnic groups. So I don't want to let this drop, and we'll make another effort next month. The third ad hoc committee report is from correctional facility. I have a feeling we don't have anything to report, Eddie, but I'll let you say it.
That is correct, sir. I have nothing to report.
Okay, until we
Because
can
of
get into the jail.
COVID-19, there's no, I have no, there hasn't been any mail or phone calls that I know of, and I haven't had a chance to go there. If I haven't, there's no been reason for me to go there.
Yeah, until access to the correctional facility is improved, that's kind of a problem unless we get somebody reaching out to us. Lelania?
I have a question. I don't know if this is what the committee deals with, but because we can't communicate and we can't do those things, is that the state that everybody that's incarcerated is in? Are they able to Zoom, or I mean, are they on full lockdown like that, or are we just not able to do that because everyone's in high precaution?
No, our jail has been locked down for quite some time. I don't know about other counties or other facilities, but ours is in that state.
So is there a way that we could communicate without having to go in there, so we're at least accessible in a time when it is in crisis for them to communicate with us?
Well, maybe Eddie's going to mention what I was going to say. Go ahead, Eddie.
Oh, I'll go ahead and check into it, because lockdown is not, they're not accepting any visitors. So that's the better definition. But I think you make a good point, Lillian. What I'll do is I'll make a phone call and I'll report back by next meeting, if not before that.
Can I jump in a second? That's Larry.
Yes, sir.
Weren't there some kind of little notices up on the bulletin boards there about the process for getting a hold of us?
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to bring up, that is our outreach to the jail. Whether the inmates are taking advantage of that, I can't explain why it's gotten so quiet, but those posters are up.
Those notices are up.
There's 14 of them scattered throughout the facility.
And as of 2 or 3 months ago, they were all still up.
Yeah, good. Okay.
We're having dueling cute dogs here tonight. One's a little hairier than the other, but
I got 3 now.
okay. All right. Well, Eddie, if you'll report back at the next meeting or before, let us know where things stand.
Will do.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Unless I did misnumber them, under unfinished business, we have an election of officers to proceed with. We have 4 officers that are available. We have a slate of uncontested candidates. We could either vote on them individually or as a slate. Bird.
You need to ask if there are any nominations from the floor first.
Correct. Are there any additional nominations from the floor? And it does not appear that there are any. Bird?
I move the adoption of the slate.
I second that. This is Larry.
Okay, Bird makes the motion. Larry seconds to vote for the slate as a whole. Let me read it to you just so that you are aware. Chair would be Lelania Dubois. Vice Chair would be Eddie Morgan. Secretary would be Stephen Lorius. Treasurer would be Mary Lyons. I'm not on the list. Huh. Any discussion? Lelania.
I have a question because Stephen isn't here. You've already communicated with him and he accepts the role, or how does that work?
I thought I stated this 2 or 3 weeks ago that everybody has been reached and gave confirmation of that they were either interested in or not interested in.
Got it.
Serving.
I know personally I was asked 3 times. So yes, I think you've done your due diligence.
I have a way of repeating myself. I'm sorry. Okay, well, if
So
there's
before we go, there's a question somebody's asking. Julia Minton, yes. What platform are the hashtags being used on? I think Lelena could probably answer that question.
You want to answer? You want to address the question now?
We should vote first.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let's finish that and then we can come back to it. Okay, all those in favor of the slate of candidates, please indicate by raising your hand.
Aye, for Larry.
Aye for Larry.
Supposed to vote.
I didn't see Eddie and Mary. Okay, all right. It's unanimous of all the participants that are here. So you have a new slate of officers starting July 1st. Now, if we can go back and address Julia's question, we can do that now. What was it, Eddie?
What platform are the hashtags being used on? And I believe she's talking about the Humboldt kindness.
All platforms.
Can you be a little bit more specific?
Absolutely. So the Facebook group is on Facebook. We don't, because we're a county organization, we don't have an Instagram right now, but we can still gather the information on Instagram to show the Board of Supervisors at the end of the year. We were putting it in our email headings, so it goes out and more people learn about it. We're using it very prolifically. I use it on LinkedIn. And so at the end of the year, we can go through and gather in all those different spaces and show the diversity through that. Facebook is the easiest place to do that. With the photos and all of that, because that's where we're located at, but we'll be looking everywhere. And anywhere you put it creates the education, which is more important than us gathering it.
Right, I use hashtag Humboldt all the time. So if I use hashtag Humboldt kindness on Instagram, then anybody can go hit hashtag Humboldt kindness and it opens up a whole page of whoever's used the hashtag Humboldt kindness on Instagram. It's that easy. So it's not really a page on Instagram, but anybody who's hashtag Humboldt kindness can use it. And they can search and see who all the other pictures. Just like if, whatever, if I look at polydactyl cats, which I do, hashtag polydactyl cats, then it comes up all the polydactyl cats. So same thing. So you can already start searching on any platform by just searching Humboldt kindness with hashtag in front of it.
Julia gave us a thumbs up, so I think we're good to go.
Okay, good. Thank you for, that was emailed in or?
That was on our Facebook.
Facebook, okay. We'll get accustomed to all of it. Okay, the next item under unfinished business is something that perhaps Kevin would be interested in following, and perhaps Jody. The reason that this item was on the agenda, of course, it was before, it was placed on here before we knew about the George Floyd events, and it was in relationship to a rally that was held in Eureka, where some posters were posted that were quite offensive because they showed people being muzzled, which has all kinds of racial overtones to it. So even though we brought this subject up in a different format when the last month's meeting, we had a situation where we were just discussing a fellow wearing white pride. I'm going to be upside down here in a second watching Kevin.
I'm trying to get the charger.
No, that's okay. I was trying to follow you.
Like my phone's gonna die.
Headed for outer space, and we would have just thought you were floating. I do that.
Yeah. At any rate, something happened last month that was on social media. Now this has happened on social media, and I really have the same basic question as last month: is what direct activity or action could the Human Rights Commission be taking that would be timely? Because sometimes a lot of what we do takes more time, and the issue is kind of faded into the background by the time we take action. So I'd first like to hear from the commissioners, and then if Kevin has an additional thought at the end of that session, we'd be more than happy to listen to him. First hand I saw was Bird, and then Lelania, and Mary.
In our minutes from last time, it said that we had discussed it and you were going to write a My Word column.
And I did.
And I must have missed that. Did it appear?
Yeah, it did. And it was based on, it was based not on current events, which are prompting the protests. It was based on the white power insignia on the fellow's shirt, which he
Okay.
was wearing. But it did
Can I
appear.
jump in for a second? Jim, is that posted on our website?
Is what posted?
Your My Word.
News you can use in our shared drive has that article.
Okay.
Okay, I'll
Yep.
find it there. Thank you.
You bet.
So that actually happened.
Yes, it did. It happened just days after the
Good.
meeting where I said it would.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Aaron? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got out of order here. Lelania, Mary, and then Aaron.
So I have two suggestions. One, I think as the commission, since now we're talking about it, that we should engage however Black Humboldt wishes us to support this digital event. So there's a lot of education. Two, I think that now due to the event that happened within our own community directly and what's happening across the globe right now, that it is time to create a committee around racial tension, or I don't know what to call that committee, but I do think that we could get a little ready to start really working with some community advocates in honing in on this discussion a little bit more targeted.
Okay, I'll have a kind of a thought for that after we hear the other two people that are speaking. Mary was next, and then Aaron. You're muted.
I think it's okay to show up and be out there and show our faces and say, hey, I'm on the Human Rights Commission and I'm here at this march. I want to see what's happening. I want to know what I can do. I think that presence is everything, and I would encourage you guys. I'll be glad to let you know when I'm going out there, because I do, and I'm normally out there trying to be present with the community so the familiar faces see me and they know I'm there and I know I support what's happening. So
When you think,
I think when we see events happening, marches, when we see whatever we see happening, being out there and sharing who we are and saying, hey, I'm here. I'm here to listen. I'm here to be here. And so I would encourage everyone on the Human Rights Commission to get out there. I will definitely, Lelania, I'll text you when I'm heading out. I'll call people if you guys want, because I think it's kind of nice, to be out there. Just not every time, but just to be there when you can be there.
I'm having to show my support differently, unfortunately, because I've been on full isolation since January.
Okay, that's okay.
So
I'll be there for you.
It's hard not to, because you know where I come from, but I'm having to do it differently. And I think, there's a lot of creative ways that us and our community can engage digitally, just like what Black Humboldt is doing. I think that we need to listen to our Black community and see what kind of suggestions they have, how we can support them. And I'm hoping we're going to get an opportunity to do that, it sounds like, next month.
well, keep in mind, my understanding is that first of all, I want to say, please acknowledge the chair when you want to speak so that we don't lose track. I lose track as it is, and it's not making it any easier. Secondly, Kevin's group, Black Humboldt, is working with the NAACP on that event. We don't know for sure what parameters they have set for it, whether they even want participation from other groups. So we need to respect giving Kevin the opportunity to communicate our interest and then see if there is a place for us to participate in that. Is that fair, Kevin?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Now, Aaron was next and then Bert.
I'm thinking of, there's other organizations who are doing this, and there is a group, the Southern Poverty Law Center. I imagine you're familiar with them. They're an advocacy center, and I thought that I was almost sure that they have like an educational program for children, an anti-racist educational program for children. I think it's called Teaching Tolerance. They would be, I don't know if they've already got a program going on that we could adopt. We also, last time we had talked about talking to the people from Not in Our Town, the organization who did that documentary, which I think was not a good documentary, unfortunately. But the story, they might have some response, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
No, and we can act a lot faster in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good points, Aaron.
Maybe one of those two groups have some direction for us.
Yeah, okay. Bert.
I just wanted to say, in response to what you said, Mary, I think if we go out anywhere and identify ourselves as human rights commissioners, that we should say that we are there as part of the hashtag Humboldt Kindness Committee, which has been directed by the commission to do this kind of thing. We need to give ourselves that validity. We're not just out there as somebody who one person from the commission. We need to let the community know what the commission has done and what we are doing for that. And secondly, yes, the Southern Poverty Law Center has teaching tolerance. They have videos, they have all kinds of things. And I believe that most of the things for education are in Humboldt County Office of Education. And so we could probably get those. I also get all that, and I can provide that to anybody who wants it.
Oh, great.
Jim, can I jump in here or get in line? Larry.
You can get in line. Mary's next, and then you, Larry.
I yield to Larry first.
Okay, Larry, you're up.
I was just going to say, I don't think there's any members. In fact, I know there's no members of the commission that probably are aware of this. But the Humboldt Human Rights Commission during the Timber Wars went out as developed a group of commissioners. We were called neutral observers. And that because of the tensions, incredible tensions that were around during those times, we would go out to streets. We had, we actually were given little name tags by the sheriff's department that identified us as human rights commissioners, and and that we had this role as neutral observers. Unfortunately. I think the risk manager at some point, somebody down there said, our liability is too great, and we don't want the commissioners to do that anymore. But we'll give somebody, some training funds if they want to break off and have something, on their own. And so if the independent observer program was formed, and it operated for a number of years, and I'm sure most of the observers still have their hats and blue jackets. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and it may be because there's incredible power in just being there, being that both sides of the confrontations are aware that there are people watching and observing the events, and it really tends to mediate things in those kind of situations. So I just wanted to throw that out there and say maybe it's time for us to consider going back to the board, or maybe considering something like that as the world gets more chaotic. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
You're being kind. Mary.
Takes a minute for me to get to the unmute. Piggybacking off of actually what Larry was saying, I was a trained observer for anti-war demonstrations and stuff. It would be kind of interesting for us to have vests on our backs that say Human Rights Commissioner. Humboldt County Human Rights Commissioner. We're just out there and we're able to be a witness. And I think that we'd be surprised at how many people would want to come and have our hashtag Humboldt Kindness under it. I still have my vest. I have my CERT vest. I have my observer vest I have a lot of different vests that I've worn, and it might be something to pursue so that no matter where we're at or what we're doing, if we're at Martin Luther King brunch or lunch, if we go to observe when they're protesting for indigenous rights, whatever it is, it'd be kind of nice for us to be able to be easily identifiable. And I agree with Bird to be able to say, when someone comes up to us, what is the Human Rights Commission all about? What's it doing? Well, we got the Kindness Committee, we've got Cultural Awareness Committee, where we'd love for more community members to plug in. I think it could be very vibrant. I know that in my past with different boards and commissions I've been on, that's exactly what it was like. So I think it'd be kind of cool. That's just what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you.
Be more visible.
Jody had her hand up.
Could the commission call on community volunteers to be neutral observers and potentially use some of the money in the treasury to provide them with vests or hats or some identifying garment so that people that wanted to go out and be neutral observers for things like that in our community could have some training and then some identification with that?
Let me ask Larry if he knows if any of that took place when they were doing this before.
Well, as I said, while we were on as commissioners, we really didn't have any formal training. But when we branched off into the independent observer programs, the county actually, I think they came up with $800, and we hired a lady from University of Oregon. Can't think of her name at this point, to come down. A really spectacular lady, a trainer, and we provided some training for the observers. I would think that it would really behoove the county, to give us the option, give us the ability to do that and to provide some funds. Now, I don't know how, obviously at this point we couldn't say, yes, we could go out and get community members to be part of it, but again, I think it's really important that, we empower the community. And one way to empower them is get them involved, making some, commitment to the health of Humboldt County. And so, yeah, anyway. So I think, if we want to go that way, it'd be down the road away. And it's, I think maybe with the board we have, we could get them to give us some backing. I think it would be real important, that we have the backing of the board if we do go venture out as human rights commissioners. I think that would be and the sheriff as well. I think, and Mr. Hansel, Billy would probably be very supportive of us if we presented it in a, in the manner I believe so anyway, yeah.
Okay, we've got 4 people now with their hands up. So I would like us to try to wrap this up so that Kevin can chime in if he has anything to add. The next person that I saw was Lelania.
Was actually what I wanted to ask is if we were going to ask Kevin how he saw or how his organization saw that we could be supportive. But then more of the conversation came through, and it sounds to me like a lot of what we're talking about, because Julie, we're not a funded commission. This is all volunteer. So we don't have funding to enact programs like that. What we've managed to do is have community members who come to us and say, we want to do this. How do we get permission? And then we worked and helped created things that helped empower those, whether it was a statement from the board or, we've done it in multiple different ways. It just depends on. And so to the commission, and I think that's what Larry was saying, is that I think we need to, as a commission, start having a conversation around ways to ask for pieces of funding for specific programs like this.
Well, to that point, we have asked for money before from the Board of Supervisors, and we have received it. So
right,
we can do this, but we just have to have strong justification in their minds. Mary was next.
So I heard what you were talking about trainings. I am a peacekeeper trainer. I wouldn't want to do the trainings, but I am saying that I've done peacekeeper training and first responder training and other things. I've conducted the trainings as well as taken them. And the Labor Temple during different times has put on, I'm sure probably Black Humboldt has trained observers when we're out protesting, when different folks are out protesting. I think it would behoove us to be able to, I felt like what Aaron might have been saying was to be able to get reports, or maybe as our guest saying, to be able to find a way to get reports from those observers sent to the Human Rights Commission so we could collect stories to compilate data to say, this is what independent observers are saying from many different groups, so that we're able to give a cohesive report to the Board of Supervisors and say, look, this is what's happening in our community. And so I think, yeah, Lelaine, I think that we should form some kind of a community watch committee. I don't know what to call it, but to be able to get information from all the different sources that are already doing exactly that. But when I go out, I want to be an observer too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Eddie was next, and then Bird.
So I think what we should do is get a committee together, look at what we've done in the past. I mean, we might need observers for environmental thing. I mean, anything, but having a contingency plan of how we would fund, train observers if we did want to do that. So I'm recommending, I would make the motion after we have a discussion that we do a committee so we have a contingency plan for observers. And it doesn't have to be for a single thing. It could be an observer, like I said, for environmental issues or other issues.
Well, each ad hoc committee is supposed to be set up with a narrow focus of what it's for, and it has a limited duration. We need to keep that in mind whenever we set one up.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is it would be only for the contingency plan of what we need to have observers. That's the narrow scope.
That would be fine, yeah. Bird?
Well, I just wanted to say that we do have a little bit of money in our budget, but that is specific for outreach. And I'm not sure that this would be quite the same thing. I think we probably want to keep this for the buttons if we're going to get those, for the stickers that we've had and those kinds of things. So asking the Board of Supervisors for money, we need that plan. Eddie's right. We should have a committee that sets up that plan, and then we go to them with exactly what it is we want to do and what it will cost.
Okay, very good. Any other comments before I ask our guest if he would like to speak again on this? Okay, Kevin, you've heard us discussing a variety of things. Do you have a couple of thoughts, or more than a couple?
Yeah, you ready?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so first off, I want to clarify that Black Humboldt is not like a political organization. We do bring Black issues to the forefront, whether that's culture, whether that's art, whether that's institutional racism. So as far as like we don't train people in protests. We generally don't, except for, we support other groups and hold space for Black bodies to gather. So less on the political side. We're not, yeah. So just to clarify that, as far as the racism in Humboldt County, yeah. So you guys also missed the incident that I was actually particularly involved in which there was I hate N-words spray painted on a fence in Eureka, and
I saw that.
Yeah, so I'm the one that went and took a picture of it and then posted it on Facebook. And so that's basically, almost like week after week for that month where these very blatant racial messages. And so what I personally want to say is that those racial messages that are blatant are, of course, atrocious, of course, hideous. However, it's not always my biggest concern. More of my concern is the racism that takes place in unemployment that isn't as simple as somebody saying, I specifically hate you for their color. It's more so of somebody making a choice about you because of your color that they can hide behind. And so, yeah, I don't know what it would look like to have people observing, or how, you know, either party involved would react to somebody observing, particularly protesters. Seeing, of course, you guys are a government entity, but seeing somebody else in uniform, I'm not sure if that's the best approach. That's could be triggering for some people. And so, yeah, racism is definitely a problem in Humboldt County, and it's getting to the point where people can't even keep it within themselves. That's basically what that is a manifestation of internal feelings that aren't new. It's been this way for a while. And so with everything going on, and people are starting to show their true colors. But the other thing is that even seeing these recent things in the news and spray painted on, it's not a new thing. It's not surprising to me. And so I think everybody should take a step back and realize how people of color, particularly in Humboldt County, have to wake up every day to stuff like that, whether it's locally or nationwide, and then go to a job and deal with it in person. The best way I can compare racism is like, it's if you're just living your life walking and somebody's following you with their fist cocked ready to punch you. That's basically, you don't know where it's going to come from. You don't know who it's going to come from, a stranger or somebody you've known for 15 years. So I think that also there are groups that are working with it. So I don't necessarily think it's appropriate to always ask groups of color specifically what they can do, because there are people doing this work. There's Equity Arcata. There's a new group on Facebook. It's Humboldt Racism and Awareness that sprang up out of these groups, and a lot of these are non-POC. These are white people recognizing the problem and educating each other out of it, because once again, it's laborious for us. And so, you know, due to the fact that we've already had, you know, centuries of slavery, I would definitely be careful with asking for more free labor from groups of color and specific organizations.
I thank you very much. You're an excellent spokesperson for your group. But I want to say I made the mistake as part of a member of the NAACP one time, asking for a person of color to help explain something to us. And I was put in my place because I was told it's up to you to figure that out and up to you to investigate it. And it took me a long time before I realized, yes, that's absolutely true. It's not any other person's obligation to educate me, even though I was willing. There's an educational process going on for everybody, and that was part of mine. Thank you very much, Kevin, for that. Any other comments? Or Eddie had a motion, I think.
Yeah. Well, I did have a motion. I just want to say what I got out of, or one of the thoughts that Kevin made me think of, is that we should look into some statistical analysis of things that are going. He talked about a lot of different employment and things of that nature. I think that would be interesting. And I think that information's out there. And if not, maybe we need to make it more transparent.
Can I jump into this, Larry?
Yes.
So, you know, it sounds like a couple of things going on here. I wanted to let Eddie know that I would certainly be more than happy to be part of a ad hoc committee on observers. I think they as I said, the world becomes more chaotic, the need for something like that is probably going to be, greater. And we should, we are logical ones to be out there, I think. And in terms of, we don't have, we're not talking uniforms. We're talking, just regular, just so it was, some simple method of identification is all. And when we did it before, we had little cards that we handed out explaining exactly who we are and what our roles were, and so we try to mediate that suspicion that was out there. So anyway, that's all I had to say. Let me know if we're going to go forward with this. I hope we do.
Thanks.
Okay.
Lelania?
Thank you. I just got a little education and I really, really, really appreciated it, Kevin. So thank you for that. And I think, we can play this. There's a lot of education in this conversation. I want to ask the commission, as that committee that we're discussing, as an observer, to me, that word means a lot of things. Could that be inclusive of observing and collecting actual real data and then sharing that as education throughout our law enforcement, our community, to bring awareness to what our reality is?
Let me point out, we haven't had a motion yet to do anything. And so I want to make sure we're all talking about the same thing when we get there. Is there a motion, and is it specific that?
I believe there is a motion. I thought I made it. I make the motion that we have a study group to look at contingency plans for observers.
For observers.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I'll second that if you mean an ad hoc committee.
ad hoc committee. Sorry. Thank you, Bird. Yes.
Okay. Okay, now we know what we're talking about for sure.
Yeah.
So there is a motion. Is there any further discussion on it? Lelania?
I don't feel like creating that committee is actually addressing what this topic is about. So I agree with the committee, but I wanted to interject that I don't feel like that committee is actually, that's why I asked the question I did, because I feel like that's something that we need to do as a commission. We should be those bystanders in all situations. But what we're talking about right now is a much more like in our face, something that we need to either create a committee and have a further discussion around, or that we need to go deeper on this particular subject than that. I just wanted to say that.
Okay, well, we can vote on more than one motion before the evening is over too. I don't know who was first, Eddie or Bird.
Bird.
Okay, Bird.
Well, I think the motion was to have an ad hoc committee that would come up with the discussion and a plan that we would present to the Board of Supervisors, asking for money to do this specific thing, which is to form some kind of observer corps.
Is that reference? Does that accurately reflect what you wanted, Eddie?
Yes, and to answer Elena's question, having been an observer with the multinational force and peacekeeping forces, the data collection and the whole loop is part of that observer. If you don't do one, the other one is you're just standing around.
Exactly. That's exactly right. This is Larry.
So I think we're on board. So yeah, you always think of the guy with the blue hat getting shot at, but there's a lot more to that.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's what I think we need to do a lot more, I guess, than just show up at a rally is what I'm trying to imply. Thank you.
Okay. Bird?
Could we put a time frame on this, that we ask this ad hoc committee to come back to the commission either July or August with the scope of what this plan would be? What would be involved in it? And that, again, that would have to be, what the committee would do, how much it would cost, who would be involved, those kinds of things, and bring that back to the commission before they go ahead and come with all the details about it to go to the Board of Supervisors, to be sure that the commission is still on the same page with what the ad hoc committee is coming up with.
I would favor the July date, and keep in mind we can have up to 4 people on the committee. So if we agree that July is a date to report back, this group would have to meet sometime, maybe more than once, I don't know. So who would be interested in serving on this committee?
Jim, this
Yes.
is Larry.
Yes.
You know, to do it justice, I disagree. I think we should give it another month because there's going to be some fact finding. You know, the commissioners have other things going on, and I don't think it'll hurt us to go a little bit slow in terms of developing this what this committee's about. So I just wanted to throw that in there, and I do volunteer to be on it.
Well, let's make it August then, and Larry is volunteering. Any three others? Aaron? Okay. Eddie? A fourth one, maybe?
I will.
Okay. Now, who would like to be chair of that committee?
I'll be the chair because it's a contingency plan, and if that's all right, that's.
Yeah, that's fine, and you know how to do all the invites and stuff. So
and this is me again. And I'm working on getting my an upgraded computer. So at some point I'm going to be there. But I think as long as I can use the phone to be a participant, that I think that will work fine.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, let's vote on this because it should be approved. All those in favor of creating this study group to discuss observer training and activities, please indicate by raising your hand.
Ad hoc committee.
Ad hoc, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, that's everybody.
That's everybody.
And so you'll need to report back for the first time, hopefully with some detailed information by the August meeting.
Well, maybe we could have something started by let you know where things are at in July. I just think we just didn't be
that's
locked
fine.
into finishing it by July.
We'll ask for progress reports along the way.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. That's good. Anything else on this topic before we move on to the next item? Lelania.
I feel like we need to create an ad hoc committee to further dive in to the issues around racism in Humboldt County, and just have a deeper conversation and learn more to see if there are solutions that we don't know, that we don't understand yet, because this is not the first incident. I mean, since I've been on the commission, there's been a few things. And I just feel like I know, as a woman from my experience, I feel like I need to learn more. I feel like there's so many fractions to our community that need more education. I just would like us to have a deeper conversation.
Okay.
Isn't the committee we're going to be forming on cultural
that's exactly what I was.
Could that be rolled into this?
I don't know why it couldn't. I think that would be a perfect blend of the two, because we're not just talking about any one ethnic group that we want to protect. I think that we have the basis of a committee already formed. It's just that they haven't been able to get together and meet. So there are two people on that committee that I recall. One is Toby Van Landingham and Carol Larson. Oh, is there a third one? How about let's rename this committee Racism and Cultural Awareness, and add two people to that committee. We're taking from a small pool here, but Lelania, are you volunteering? Okay, one more? Well, we could start with three.
Could I recommend that you have a discussion with the other two members, as their involvement in it, maybe motivate them a little bit.
Yeah, I would think Stephen would be an excellent participant if we could get him to.
I'll reach out to the chair, the current chair, as well as Stephen, to see what the attitude is. Bird,
How about you, Jim?
what?
Serving.
You're not going to be president anymore.
Yeah.
Let's get some work out of him.
Let me, if I would be happy to be on the committee, but I'd like to first find out the status of the other people first, so that we know if they have the time to commit to it, and if not, then I'm more than happy to.
Well, but you only have 3 right now. So I'm talking about you as the 4th.
Well, I could. I'd like to speak to Stephen to see what his attitude is about this, but oh heck, I'll do it.
Thank you.
Good job, Bird. Good job, Bird.
I think I got roped into that.
You did.
And I, you know, and if Jim, you're participating, I can always step away if there's more value to bring to the table. So I just want to see us take more responsibility around this, I guess.
Yeah. Let's make this official. We need to vote on this as well. We know the contours of it. It's racism.
So I can have my hand raised so someone can make a motion.
Pardon?
I'm trying to take the notes, and you said, but you didn't say that you moved. You said, what do you think about this? Or did you make a motion? That's what I was asking.
We
Change
were,
the name of the committee. Did you make a motion?
I'm confused now. We didn't vote on forming that committee. That ad
No,
hoc.
you suggested renaming it to the Racism and Cultural Awareness Committee. Was that a motion when you said that?
No, it wasn't.
No.
Okay, that's all, just for the notes.
Okay. Okay, that committee exists. It had an expiration date of September. Shall we make it the end of the year?
Yes.
Which one are you talking now?
I'm talking about racism and cultural awareness. Okay,
So again, I'm confused. If you're calling it Racism and Cultural Awareness, do we move to change the name of the committee? Do we have to make a motion to change the name of the committee?
are you making a motion like that? We could do that.
Sure, I move to change the name of the committee to the Racism and Cultural Awareness Committee.
Okay, all those in favor of changing the name?
Need a second.
Yeah.
Who's the second? I don't know that we have to vote on everything like this, but
No, we don't.
who's going to second the, Aaron is seconding. Okay, thank you. All right, now, all those in favor of changing the name and having an expiration date of the December 31st, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay. Eddie, are you in or out?
Can I say why I don't like the name? I don't want to be difficult here, but we're calling it the racist. It's like calling anti-trafficking the trafficking committee. At least I think that's maybe I'm wrong. You know,
It's racism and cultural awareness.
Okay, so that sounds different. Okay,
Well,
maybe
that's what I thought. That's what I thought I said.
Okay,
but maybe not.
okay.
And Eddie, part of me agrees with you, but I think in times like this that we do need to be more clear.
Yeah.
All right. Any further discussion on this area of our evening? Okay, thank you. The last item on the agenda for the evening, I don't have my papers in front of me. Eddie, could you show the last agenda item?
Future of our meeting formats, website, etc.
Yes, that's correct.
Am I looking at the right?
No, you're looking at an old document there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there you go. You coming? Keep going.
There we go.
New business, new
Yes.
business. There you go.
Okay, a
Little bit.
little higher.
Yeah, there
There
you
we
go.
are.
Sorry
Okay,
about that.
that's okay. This item is labeled the future of our meeting formats, website, etc. We have the situation where there's nobody that can tell us how soon we will be able to meet in person. We also have temporary loosened Brown Act regulations that govern our meetings. And we have a set of bylaws that need to reflect all of that. At the same time, we have a situation where we've been wanting to encourage more participation from the rural parts of the county. And the fact of the matter is that as long as everybody has to come into Eureka all the time for those meetings, we're always going to have a problem there. So that's why this is on the agenda. And my proposal was to establish a 3-person committee to work on the technical aspects of this and to report back to the commission at the July meeting. And I did see a hand up from Bird first.
Yes, our bylaws do need to be changed because our bylaws right now say that everybody on the call has to see everybody else. And we cut out a lot of people, especially some of those out in the boondocks who maybe have a phone, but they don't have the internet. And right now, Larry is not, I can't see Larry, I can hear him, and we need to reflect that in the bylaws. I would be willing to serve on this committee, but then I would have to take myself off that other one I said reluctantly that I would be on.
So you would take yourself off the study group?
Yes. I'm sorry, I would, only one. But I will do the looking at the bylaws and so forth. But I'll need somebody there who's the techie.
Oh,
I would
do
be
we know somebody like that?
I would be more than happy to be there. And I already spend lots of time on this thing. So yes, I'd like to be on this committee.
So
Pardon?
I'd like to be on the committee so I can learn more as my new role and participate in that revamping.
And I'd like to serve as the 4th person on that committee. So, Bird, would you mind chairing the committee?
No, I'd rather have somebody who's better at the techie stuff than I am.
You know what? I think I have a lot of strong players. If you guys want, I can share it, but you guys will be doing most of the work.
Yeah, I can facilitate the meeting if you like. I can do that part. I'm not as techie as Eddie is. If you'll do the techie stuff, I'll do the facilitation.
Yeah, the techie stuff is really easy. Trust
So
me.
you're basically co-chairs.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that works fine. And as I said before, we should report back to the commission at the July meeting because we don't know how quickly the situation is going to change and we need to be prepared for that. Does that seem doable?
Fine with me. Yeah.
And I'd like to advocate the point that there's a lot of good reason to say that people that live outside boundaries don't have access to the technology. But I'd like to argue the point that having a car and driving to Eureka or having to takes more funds, more effort than getting on a phone or a smartphone. I just like to point that out.
Well, that's why I think we should be making it possible for them to do that. That's
exactly. It's accessibility. Yeah. I think it's more accessible.
Yeah. Accessibility. But Jim, you had on the agenda that you were suggesting you, Eddie, and Stephen.
Well, but I can't ask Stephen tonight. So.
Yeah. Okay. So you take Lelania.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
I just want to learn about the whole process more because, you know, I think I learned by doing, so.
Okay, well, let's formalize this committee. Is there a motion? Bird?
I move the formation of an ad hoc committee to discuss and decide how to formulate everything we need to use technology for our future meetings.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
I think Eddie beat you. Eddie seconds. Is there any additional discussion?
Yes, no, I have a comment afterwards, sorry.
Okay. All those in favor of forming this ad hoc committee, please raise your hand.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, it is approved, and we'll go from there. And Eddie, you had another comment?
Report back in
Yes.
July.
So
Yeah.
Julia, and I'm having a hard time pronouncing her last name, Julia.
Minton, I think.
Yeah, if you guys look at the comment, you know, she's saying streaming from Southern Humboldt here. I understand that you all are under the Brown Act, but I certainly appreciate the greater accessibility. So
Good.
proves that point.
This is just a comment that's related to that. I think given what the whole country has experienced during this pandemic, that there is going to be a lot of talk about changing the rules for meetings. I know the Brown Act is a safeguard for the public and not making deals behind closed doors and so forth. But I think there's a recognition that we may have to find a new path forward. And I'd like us to be ready for it. That's why this came up.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on this subject? Okay. Well, before we do my last thing, I'd like to see if have we got a clear picture, Lelania, of your items that have been talked about for the agenda for July? I didn't mean to throw you a curve.
You just did.
I'll send you notes, Lelania. I
Okay.
took notes, Lelania. I'll send them to you.
Do I have
Okay.
a clear picture of my agenda items for July? Is that what you
Not
asked?
so much your agenda items, but the items that we've discussed that should be considered for the next month. Okay, Mario will help out.
I
Kevin,
believe
I took the notes
I
tonight for
believe I
Stephen.
do. I just wasn't expected being asked. Yeah, let me answer that. So, because I need to get good at this. I believe that we're going to see Black Humboldt on the agenda. We need to revisit the Human Trafficking Fund, the Humboldt Kindness Campaign, the Observer Committee, and then the Racism and Cultural Awareness Committee.
That covers it pretty well. Bird.
And the draft of the annual report, which is already on our agenda right here.
I have shared with you, Bird, an initial draft of it. Now that the elections are over, I would happily share it with everybody, and I will do that in the next few days. We oftentimes don't get that to the Board of Supervisors until August, sometimes even the 1st of September, and I'd like to do it in July. So when I send out the draft, let me know if there's anything you think I have left out or am incorrect about, and we'll get that formulated so that we can approve it at the July meeting. And I've already reserved time for a late July presentation to the Board of Supervisors.
Excellent.
Okay. Bird, did you not get that draft that I?
Well, if I did, I ignored it.
Well, thank you.
I thought I looked at everything you sent me, but
This
I'll
was a
go
few.
back and check.
Well, I'll send it out again anyway.
Thank
This
you.
was a few weeks ago. Okay. Yes, Aaron.
Just one last comment. This is for some distant agenda. I just want to let you know that I saw my dentist today.
Oh, yeah.
And everything's on hold, but I just want to let you know that Betty Chin apparently is really into it, which means it'll happen. So that's all.
Oh, good. Let us know, Aaron, when you know something solid so that we can move forward on it.
I will. And I reminded them that they have our support. So they may not need us anymore is what I'm guessing, but I'll let you know whatever.
Well, there still might be a role to play. So
I'll be on it. Yeah.
thank you very much. Okay. Lelania?
Since we're at the end of the agenda, Jim, you know, and this is this your last meeting
It's my last meeting as chair.
as chair?
4 years is enough.
Well, I would like to first of all say thank you, because I have had the pleasure of working with you for those 4 years, and you and this whole commission, I feel so privileged for what you guys have taught me about leadership, community, communication, and teamwork. I haven't had the privilege of working with such a big team that just really cares. And you are an amazing leader. In your integrity, I admire to no end. And I am terrified to be stepping in your shoes. I feel incredibly privileged to be stepping in your shoes. And I feel very honored that you feel that I can try to do that. And I look forward to learning more from you in that role. But thank you for your leadership. Thank you for all that you've taught me, and for all the time that you've given me to help me adapt to this new government that I'm not used to. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you very much. Bird?
And I would just like to say ditto to everything Lelania has said, and to thank you, Jim, for incredible leadership. You really have, in a very quiet and respectful way, have led us better than I have seen the commission led in many years. And I appreciate everything you've done. I hope you will stay on and help us all to continue to do as well as you made us do when you were our leader. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm not going to read what I was going to read.
Why not? We want to hear it.
No. I just, Eddie, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I'll be short. If I was in the military, I'd slap you on the shoulder and say, good job. Thank you, sir.
This is Larry, and I definitely concur. You know, and I think we certainly, your energy is going to be much needed as we move forward. And I wanted to put my 2 cents in to congratulating the new slate of officers, and appreciate you guys stepping forward and taking on those roles. So,
thanks, Larry.
Yeah.
The main thing I wanted to, I'll give you the short version. The main thing that I wanted to say is that it's time for new faces and new ideas to be presented to the commission, new points of view. I think I've maintained my energy, but I don't always see the newest issue on the horizon. And I think that it's time to take advantage of getting more people on the commission and making sure that our commission represents the whole of Humboldt County. Because, and keep one thing in mind, nothing we do is so that the Human Rights Commission can take too big of a dose of credit for having done it. It's for the people of the community. And as long as we keep that in mind and keep trying to help people, we've done a good job. And I think you all deserve credit for that. So thank you very much. And I'll be around.
Good.
Bird.
I think, Jim, you said earlier to Kevin what a good spokesperson he was. Kevin, would you or anybody that you know be interested in serving on the commission? Because we do have openings.
I can definitely put the word out through my network, and I think I'll have to consider that at another time, but at this point I'm far too busy. But I definitely appreciate the extension, and I can get people in touch that would probably definitely be interested in joining.
Good, thank you.
Well, keep in mind, I'm just getting a message here that somebody else is interested. and we'd be more than happy to have you join us. I do know that there are 2 openings in Mike Wilson's district at the moment and 2 in Southern Humboldt in Estelle Fennell's district. You do not have to live in the district that has the openings. However, the Board of Supervisors has the freedom to nominate people from other parts of the county. So that is not an obstacle. We'd love to have more people joining us with different points of view. Oh, well, even more handy. She's typing me notes here. Okay, good. All right, well, any other business before the commission tonight? All right, well, with that, I'll say thank you again, and we'll call the meeting adjourned, and we'll see you in July.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye. Yes, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
See ya.
Okay. Bye-bye.